welcome to Lovin' the Time of Hydra, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 10th anniversary podcast. We're doing this episode a week late, but we're just gonna pretend it's November 17th and take you back to 10 years ago. On November 17th, 2015, the number one song was once again Hello by Adele, and the top movie at the domestic box office was still Spectre. Doctor Strange star Rachel McAdams turned 37, Iron Man actor Leslie Bibb turned 42, and famous Marvel fan Martin Scorsese turned 73. But the most important thing that happened on November 17th, 2015 was the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode One Head, Many Tales, aired on ABC at 9/8 Central, and Fitzsimmons kissed! Hello, I'm Jamie Jirak, and I'm here with my co-host, boyfriend, and level 3 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, Tony Paletto. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, everyone who's watching and listening along. Thank you for being here. They did kiss.
They kissed. Oh, we are going to talk about it with a very awesome guest. Season 3 has just been one thing after another. Awesome guest. Today's guest is a makeup artist with some amazing credits. Like, go check on that IMDb. But the big credit is...
Roll that last line back. The big credit is he did what?
He was a makeup artist for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's right. RJ McCasland is here.
Hi.
There he is.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey,
Good
buddy.
to see you.
Oh my goodness. We're having a little some internet troubles today, but we're gonna make it work. RJ, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Doing well. I can't complain. Miss the show a lot. But yeah, it's nice to know that people still care.
Oh,
yeah.
we sure do. And it's what's so cool about this fandom is that like they just know everybody. Like when I announced you, the amount of people that were hyped was so cool. Whereas a lot of shows, like people would maybe not know who the makeup artists are, but the Shield fandom they know, and it's pretty neat. The people always want to hear about how you got started, in one as a makeup artist, and then how that brought you to Shield. Give us a little history.
Good God, why do you ask me questions? I can answer Shield questions. Ask me things like this. How do I get started? I was actually in college as a police science major, and a girl I was dating at the time, we wanted to take a cute class together, so we took a stagecraft class, and the makeup part of it, like I excelled at, and I kind of went, oh, let's try this. And it was right at the time that like Rodney King beatings were happening, all this stuff. So the policing side was not looking good. And I'm like, let's try doing a bunch of low budget, really, really crappy movies. And yeah, 30 years later, I'm still doing this.
Hell yeah.
Incredible. And tell us about starting on Shield.
So my first day on Shield, a friend that I'd worked with, God, for years, even before I was union, Lori Madrigal, who is the head of department on this, gave me a call, and she goes, hey, I got this little show. It's a Marvel thing. And she was not a comic book nerd, and I am a huge comic book nerd, but she was like, yeah, it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm like, oh, okay. She had didn't know a whole lot about it at the time, but she's like, can you come in and help out on this? I'm like, sure, why not? Let's do this thing, right? My first day walking on set, they went, and so we got this guy who's gonna be turning into stone, and we need to make him look like he's turning into stone. What? So that was season 2, episode 1. And my first day was walking into that where Carl Creel comes out of the wall.
Yeah.
And so I had to work with Mark to figure out at what point they need to see him go from one point to another. So I literally just used body makeup and coloring and highlight and shadow to make his arm so it reached out and looked like the block. And I'm like, oh, okay, hey, welcome to the show. And from that, it just kind of kept going on. But I have other stories about that episode.
Oh, wow. And that sounds like those were off-camera stories.
Wow. Yeah, but it was fun. I still remember it was a very foggy day, and oh God, I think we flipped a van that day, and it was walking into a show not knowing what was going on, and was like, wow, we're just gonna get to moving, but had a blast.
That's amazing. Have you? I'd imagine. Did you eventually went back and watched season 1?
Yeah. No, I did. I had done 2 days on season 1. I had a couple of friends on it that were working on the show, and they said, RJ, can you come on and help doing some effects, makeup, and stuff? Because I had known the Deathlock character was on there, so I knew it was that because I had helped with some of the makeup on that one, and so I'd done like 2 days on it, but I didn't know anything about it at the time because when that was made, it hadn't even aired yet.
Cool.
So yeah, so it was it kind of was. I was like, okay, so this is a little thing, in the Marvel universe, it wasn't huge yet. It's like we had Iron Man out. Pardon me. We had Iron Man and God, was there maybe I don't think Iron Man 2 was even out yet.
No, yeah, all the way through
Oh,
Avengers because the show.
Oh, you're right.
Up
Never mind
right
Avengers.
after
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he gets stabbed in the chest. So yeah.
We
So
need
yeah.
that movie
So
to get this one going.
we had Captain America: First Avenger. Yeah, all that went up to it. Yeah. So yeah, there was all that, and so
And
yeah,
here we
it was something that I was like, oh, it's gonna be one of those TV show things. It's gonna be kind of cheesy, kind of god awful, like the CW shows, kind of like that. And I'm like, oh, this is, and in my personal view of season 1 was, to me it felt like Cop Light. It felt like Cop Light. That's just my view. It wasn't until I think the end of season 1, like 2/3 of the way through season 1, where it really started grabbing people, when it really started felt like part of the comic book universe, and then
totally
jumped into season 2. So
I'm a staunch season 1 defender, but a lot of people are. I would say more people agree with you that it was a little weaker.
The beginning of it kind of felt like that. It felt like they just didn't quite know where they were going yet. And I have reasons, which we'll talk about later on, that I know why things felt like that. But yeah.
Totally. Before we keep on going, I just want to say hello to the chat because they're so excited and they all want a tour of what's in your background, but we're going to do that when Tony leaves the room so that we can do it more freely. We're going to get a little tour. They also have questions for you. If you do have questions for RJ, put them in the chat later. When Tony leaves, we're going to ask them. That way we don't have to dance around anything. Tony, making our lives difficult every day of the week.
Oh, if I click on comments, I can see things.
You can see them.
This.
Yes. But if you don't want to read through, I do look at them. So, but it is cool to see everybody in the chat having fun.
Everybody.
Yeah, Tony. Real quick, do you just want to, if there's anybody new who's here who found us because RJ's on the pod, do you want to explain to them how it works?
Yeah. So don't spoil anything beyond this episode because I am watching this show for the very first time. I'm not in the comments, but if there are other people who are joining us and watching this for the first time and they are following along in the same way I am, we want to protect them and let them have a fresh experience. So if you're going to say something spoilery regarding any episode after the one we're talking about today, just put spoiler alert before your comment. Thank you.
Beautiful explanation, Tony. That's so nice.
Yeah.
I do have a little tease before we continue. I don't have a guest for next week's episode yet. Some things are cooking, but in 2 weeks, we've got a really big guest, really exciting. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna tease it. I'm gonna make you guys wait for it and tune in next Sunday to find out who it is. But in the meantime, we're talking Many Heads, One Tail, which was directed by friend of the show Gary Brown and written by Jed Whedon and another friend of the show DJ Doyle. Yes, that is a perfect way to talk about RJ. How do you work with directors? Do you work directly with them, or is that like so separate from what you're doing?
So this show ran a little bit differently than a lot of shows. This show was very hands-on by everybody. It wasn't one of those, oh, you get a note from somebody. It was, they would come into the trailer. They'd come in the trailer, we want this, this, and this, or we would go up to the offices and, there's always the read through and the pre-meetings about all the episodes as we're flipping through trying to figure out what they want. And at this point at the whole show, it was very hands-on by everyone. So we had our producers there, we had the writers there. They would all come into the trailer and they all had different inputs. Sometimes beating heads against each other because you get too many chefs in the kitchen. But overall, the show ran really well. But for like this one, so Gary was our producer, one of our producers. He was also director. He would direct almost all of our stunt unit stuff, and an avid fan of Chick-fil-A. Anytime we did stunt stuff, guaranteed to have Chick-fil-A on set as second meal. Literally he had it. We were shooting like 40 miles away from our set one day, and there was no Chick-fil-A anyway. He had it brought into us from the closest Chick-fil-A, which was like 30 miles away. He was a major Chick-fil-A fan. On his
Gary
birthday,
Lord.
somebody made him a Chick-fil-A shaped cake. But I loved Gary, and his daughter was one of our best stunt people ever. So yeah.
Oh, he
Cool.
did not brag about that. He's been on this show twice, and he did not bring that up.
Yes,
Interesting.
Yes. We
Oh.
absolutely adored her. She did a lot of doubling for Chloe, as well as just a ton of other stuff. But yeah,
That's awesome. I love hearing that. I want to talk about because this is season 3, and we've already seen some good Lash. But we didn't get any Lash in this episode, and but Mark last week talked to us a bit about working with the makeup team, and I'd love to hear your perspective on that when it comes to a character that requires both the effect side and the makeup effect side.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hear about it.
Go.
How do you work with them? Yeah, describe it to me.
It should be really easy to explain, RJ.
Yeah.
No. This
30
was something
seconds or
that
less,
wasn't my this wasn't my actual part of it because I didn't have to deal with Lash at the beginning.
Okay.
So episode 1, I think we first saw him, right? Is episode 1? Anyway, first saw him. They hadn't seen the full prosthetic and full makeup yet. He just showed up on set like this. His nose was very.
You can tell who it was.
It was, and they literally, we were putting silicone and stuff on to reshape the nose, and they just went, Mark, you take care of it. So in the first episode, a good chunk of what you see in his nose and stuff, Mark had to go back and fix because they did not like the shape of his nose.
Interesting.
They were like, oh, that looks very phallic. There's a word.
Okay.
There's the word. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of times that we would meld back and forth, whether it was putting simple dots on a face or he would clean something up of mine because they wanted it softer, or like with Creel when he had to go from one phase to another. To track a character on our budget through the entire scene would have been absurdly expensive. So they'd go, RJ, what can you do? Mark, what can you do? Where do you guys meet? So he would like push a guy through a wall, but then I would take him from the wall further. So it was, cool. I loved working with Mark. Sometimes we'd butt heads too, but out of all the visual effects guys I've ever worked with, Mark and I had a great working relationship because like I knew exactly what he wanted. He could tell he was very vocal and very visual on when I need to have this to this point here. They expect me to do this, but they can't afford this. What can we do here? So there was a lot of moments over the years that we spent many hours together going, can I get like, there was a slit wrist moment in one where they're like, if we build the slit wrist because they wanted to add it later, they wanted to add this moment after they had shot it. And they're like, if we do this slit wrist, I have to build it in 3D and then put it on and do all this and build the 3D and and like, how about I just make one on a rubber arm and you scan it? He goes, there you go. That works.
That's
and
so
it saved them, $20,000-$30,000. Just bink. And it's like, oh, look, 20 minutes later, here's some. Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool,
Before we dive into the episode, there's 2 more things, and the first is I want to bring up that you also worked on Captain Marvel, because that's in the same sphere, and Clark's in that movie. Did you? I'm curious if you worked with him on that, if it was similar or way different from the Shield.
Here's the weird part about that is, I was doing Kree makeups at the time. I was doing lots of blue people. That was my year of blue people. When I wasn't working on the show, on the weekends, I did Aladdin the musical for the Disney parks. So I was painting the genie blue.
Oh, cool.
Cool, man.
I was doing Krees, which are blue people. And then the guy who ran the Kree makeup and character makeup department, because I found out there's 3 makeup departments, which there normally isn't, but 3 makeup departments on Captain Marvel. Greg Funk called me and says, hey, we heard that you came up with a solution on how to make this makeup stick because the stuff that they were using from Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't sticking. The formula changed and it just was falling off people.
Oh.
And I'm all, I had that same problem. And here's he's all, so what are you doing? I'm all, well, I got 2 more weeks of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it goes, great. And after 2 weeks, you're going to be over here with me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So literally, and that was moving from Culver City Studios where we shot that just down the street to Sony Studios. So I literally went from Agents of Shield to Captain Marvel, had like 3 weeks off, back to the next season of Agents of Shield.
Dang.
And it was all about Peyton Blue people. But while we were shooting Agents of Shield, Clark was also over on Captain Marvel shooting his stuff. So we ran into each other once.
Oh wow! I'm surprised it was
And
so
it was
few
weird
times
because they also gave him a little hairpiece that we like made fun of all the time, truthfully.
Of course,
Okay.
yeah.
It was because it
You know.
just didn't look quite right. They ended up tweaking that in post as well. But it was strange to see him with that hair, because at that point I think he had very short hair on our show. So it was like, that's weird looking. Yeah. But it was fun nonetheless. It was it was cool to see him there, and I was really hoping that we would get more, maybe get May in there or whatever. And I mean, there was because it was such a female driven show that I'm like, oh, get May in here because she's Mayday.
Would've been
That'd
so
be awesome. Or at least
cool.
no, you're not going to mention. Oh yeah. Which is, again, is another reason why I did the show. Yeah, that's a thing.
And you wouldn't even have to de-age Ming. She looks the same as she's always looked,
Yeah. Ming.
We love her.
She is my favorite. Well, actually, here's a lovely picture of me and Ming.
Oh, cute.
That's Panda Ming.
Her little panda. I love it. All right, and people have asked me, so I do want to show off my auction win, which is Clark's jacket.
Oh, that's
from,
very cool.
Season 5 episode. It fits me really well. Clark and I are the same size. If Clark's ever stranded in Van Nuys and needs a suit, he can borrow mine. But I wanted to, like, there's some interesting things on here that I thought people would like to see, which are that they added magnets so that it could be clipped like this, so you couldn't see the zipper at all, which I thought was very interesting. And these zippers here are pinned on. They're so that I would guess so that they don't clickety clack for mics would be my guess. But that's it. That's the cool jacket that people wanted me to show off. And auctions are cool.
It looks extra cool on you. It really does. It is astonishing that, like, we got the cool thing without knowing. We went and picked it up. We didn't know if it was gonna fit, but it was still a cool relic to have either way. And then lo and behold, suited you so well.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear that for sure. All right. A big thing about this show, RJ, is, as you know, Tony is watching for the first time. So I gotta ask you, Tony, what'd you think of this episode?
I liked it a lot. I thought this was a very good episode. I think I squealed. Is that Mark Dacascos? Because I think Mark Dacascos is a really, really cool dude. Double Dragon from the 90s was like one that I really dug. It's like basically, I think it was a video game first, and then they made the movie adaptation.
Yeah.
And then also he's the chef on, he's the main guy on Iron Chef. He's the host of Iron Chef. And he always goes, I love cuisine. And then they go and get their secret ingredient. And he's, and also, Jamie, you know him from John Wick 3. He has a huge fight with Keanu. He's got a shaved bald head, and anyway, I've just always had such a fondness for him because he just seems like he's a very good martial artist, but he has like a real warmth to him. Even when he's being a bad guy, I just like him. So
you need to get Mark on the show here. Mark's a great guy.
Would love to have him.
He is definitely on my list of people I would like to try to get for season 3, especially because
drop him a line.
Yeah, please do.
Do it, RJ.
We'll figure out which one. Mark is an old friend of mine. I was his makeup artist for 4 years on Hawaii Five-0.
Oh,
so there was some times on Agents of Shield where I had to run. I'm like, is there anything big coming up? Because I need to pre-prep for it because I got to be over in Hawaii to do Mark's burn makeup because we burned half his body off. He was the main bad guy there, and he was literally half burnt, his side of his head, one whole arm, and his whole chest. And he was the main bad guy up until their 100th episode, I think. And it was funny because his last day was there, and it was a big finale moment. And we're like, oh, this sucks. I'm not going to see you anymore. And like a month later, Mark walks into my trailer. I'm like, really? Really? What are you doing here?
Love it.
No, I loved it. And a little side note about Mark in this is, damn it, It's
Choosing
not
words
really spoiler.
carefully.
Okay.
Mark was signed up for 2 episodes. He was so charming, they extended that.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. He just has such a charming vibe, even when he doesn't have dialogue and is playing a bad guy. I'm just like, love you. You're great.
I have a great picture of him and Brett going like this together, doing the
Cute.
whole the secret ingredient. And Brett's
Yeah.
all, if you ever release that video, I'm gonna kill you because he's doing the bad accent.
Oh,
So I
no.
will be canceled in a minute. I'm like, hi,
Oh, I love
You
that.
got dirt. Oh.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
RJ, just you rewatched the episode for this. Just any thoughts as just a TV viewer watching it? Was there anything you forgot about, or anything that surprised you, or anything that like you did in this episode that you're like, oh yeah, I painted that face?
But yeah. So my job besides doing the effect stuff was to do anybody. Literally, I touched every face on that show. Like normally Lori did Ming, Wendy would do, Brett. I would do whoever they threw at me for the day. And sometimes it's because we don't have time because they're backed up. Sometimes it was because, he's got a little cut, or because he's got something special coming up, or just because, hey, you know what? Go sit in RJ's chair. He knows what to do. And so I literally got to do everybody. So it was nice seeing like some of the faces. It was really cool because some of the like single episode players and stuff, some of these guys were absolutely amazing. I had a blast doing a lot of these people. But it's funny because I'm like, of all the episodes that they bring me in on them, I have the least amount of stuff going on. I'm like, okay.
Of course.
Like,
well, you'll have to, after this, if you had fun, pick an episode in the future, and we can have you back for a one that you pick. The episode starts with Gideon and Ward, and it's Powers Booth is just so cool.
Love him.
What a cool person, and I love him in this role, and I like that they're eating like there's squid on the table. Tony had a reaction to that.
I said, look at that guy.
That squid.
Let's hear it.
That squid was their nightmare for that day. They couldn't get it to stand up. It kept going. They're like, somebody got some Viagra for the squid. Like, it would not stay up. It was the biggest nightmare.
That's really funny.
Not my problem. Props problem. But it's one of those things but still, it's like everybody's like, what if we put something in? What if we, and I don't remember how they ended up. I think they ended up running a wire through it to get it. But that thing it just would not stay up for that shot.
Amazing. And this episode has a lot of cool fights, which I'm gonna attribute partly to the fact that Gary directed it. And a great Ward fight up top, and Tony literally goes, "You better use those billiards balls," and he does.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw there was a pool table in there. I was like, somebody better get cracked. There it is. Those things, I always think about that anytime. Those things are so hard. Those are skull crushers, those things. But no, this was a really, really excellent fight. It was sudden. It was mean. It's really nice. And then that business and like the plane scene later, I really liked. It's really nice. As much as I like to shit on Ward because he's a fucker, it's really nice to see him like do stuff again. Because all he's been doing is sipping whiskey and acting like a dick for this whole first part of this season. So like now he's getting into it, and I'm like, yes. This, I want you to just be as physically imposing and as sinisterly seductive as you can be. So I'm happy to have him do that.
100%. RJ, do you have a favorite character?
Do I have a favorite? Currently, like we're at the point we're at now.
Yes,
I have
at the point
tons
we're at
of
now.
favorite characters. How we're at now. I mean, I love Mark just because me and Mark had such history together. Truthfully, in my chair, I always loved when Henry would sit with me because we would have just some amazing conversations, and it could have been normally when you're in a makeup trailer or whatever, you never talk about politics, you never talk about religion, you don't know where people are going to land. But with me and Henry, we could talk about anything, and it didn't matter because it was always an equal view. It didn't mean that we always agreed. It just meant that we accepted what the other person said and took it into our minds, and it was just such a great thing. So anytime he got to sit in my chair, it was always a good day.
I love that. I'm glad that you brought up Henry, only because my next point of the episode is Mac just asking Coulson if he's sleeping with Roz. Really bold.
Right.
Tony, I feel like you liked this scene a lot.
I really did. I just always love the way Coulson handles business. And I love the way he handled this business. And at the end of the last episode, when it's revealed that Roz is on the phone with Powers Booth, the show has trained me, because of its quality, to not feel disappointment or panic. I knew one of two things were going to happen. This is going to get quelled sooner than I thought it would, or it's going to be a double agent sort of thing where she's playing one side and it seems she's playing one side and is actually on our team. Something to that effect. I was just kind of waiting for this. So to have that scene where Mac is like, "Hey, Coulson, are you sleeping with her?" And he's like, "Not your business." And then to go into this meeting where he's like, "All right, so I think she's crooked and she's with Hydra." So all hands on deck. I'm like, that's my guy. He's not, you can't pull the wool over his eyes. I was so relieved.
Good. I do like the Operation Spotlight, like seeing all those people in a room. It's like, oh yeah, we really have a shield again.
Totally.
There's a bunch of people I don't know. Who are those people in the background?
I never seen that guy. Yeah.
RJ, when I don't know if this question will really make sense, but when you're working in such dark spaces, how does that affect your job?
So it was definitely a learning curve for every season of that and almost every episode, because sometimes we're outside shooting in pure daylight. Sometimes we're in a diner or in the base. The base was always the darkest. Anytime you're in the base, there's like lighting here and there, but it's lots of shadows. So sometimes we would actually have to crank up. Sometimes I'm trying to think of the actually being off planet was also incredibly dark at all times.
Sure.
Sometimes we'd have to worry about either under eyes and puffy eyes, stuff like that, because if you have bad lighting on there, it's like, "Oh, come here, let me fix that." And sometimes you don't even see it until after they've shot a shot. They walk in, "Yeah, somebody's gonna kill me, come here." It was times difficult. The most difficult parts were anytime they had prosthetics on, because Lash would just, because he was so dark to begin with, he would just blend into the background of things. They had to bring in sometimes lighting specifically for his character in an area where he had to hit a spot where you'd be able to see him, because otherwise, nope, just dark.
This is why I love having all the perspectives on the show, because like filmmaking is crazy. It takes a village. And I think that's why I get so mad like when negative reviews are just like, "It's boring." I'm like, of any, not Shield specifically, but just of anything. I'm like, there's so much work goes into everything,
Well, right now there's that Del Toro Frankenstein right now.
Yeah.
And if you've seen that, Frankenstein's colors shift the entire movie, and it's all because of post. And really? I have that same problem with when it comes to blood color and things like this. Is they'll we wanted to do more of a blue lighting in this. Suddenly, my blood is purple. Things like this. And so when it comes to lighting and then later in post, the post is always just a nightmare, because you don't know what's going to happen later on. Now, with certain directors, you can kind of learn. They're going to shoot dark. They like things in the cooler tones. So you know that you can adjust for things. I'll use a different kind of blood for that. Or with prosthetics, I got to warm them up a little bit because like they'll look flat.
Yeah.
Interesting. I just want to talk about it all day. There's one thing. I think there's an Easter egg in here, and I want to take it to the crowd to see. When they're at the ATCU, the one guy is like talking about TV, and he mentions a character Darlene, and to me that has to be a reference to Roseanne, because Joss Whedon's first job was writing on Roseanne.
Oh, sure.
I don't know about that then.
Okay. Because like, what other show has a character named Darlene? I don't know, but like, it also feels like if it's the Whedons. If in the chat you know that they're talking about something else, but to me that for some reason this guy is like watching reruns of Roseanne. It has to be.
That's fun. I like that. I like those. Is it the two IT guys who just kind of like get momentarily hacked? Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So the chat, some people in the chat agree it's probably Roseanne. There's just no way to know, but I'm gonna. Well, I guess actually next time we have DJ on, we can ask him. I'm sure.
Ask DJ.
I'm
sure, honestly, you could probably
more of a
just text DJ and he'll answer you
we
before the
would
episode's
get
over.
daily changes and daily notes. My department head would be driven nuts by 3 a.m. calls on hey, we've changed this. Can you do this instead? How about we do this? When do we need it? About 8 hours. I got several of those midnight calls where it's RJ, can you quickly make something up, or do we have something sitting around in your lab that we can use because they've decided to add this? So yeah, the writers, they love changing things on us in the last minute.
Oh, how fun.
Defrosted Robot in the comments says, write down the question because people know that I'm going to forget that I said I was going to ask.
Maria, log the question, please.
Log the question. Let's see. It's fun to see Daisy hacking again. We don't see that a lot. Bobby and Hunter go undercover. Everyone loves Hunter undercover. The shirt, the fact that he can't type is so funny.
That's a good bit.
Yeah.
I started watching that. I caught the bit before it was a bit, and I was like, oh no, he's sitting down at the computer. He's not. and then I
type.
Terrific bit. Yeah.
Oh, really funny. Also, one of the the show doesn't often really date itself, but an Ashley Madison reference.
Dude,
that
made me laugh.
That.
Yeah. The other thing that made me laugh in this chapter was Mac's customer service voice, which I really enjoyed. He had just got on post. Oh yes, we're sending a team right away. I'm like, oh, aren't you sweet?
Yep.
We love everyone undercover. Ward hijacking the plane is a cool scene. He just keeps getting cool stuff to do. That scene he's terrifying in that scene.
He really is. This is him probably at full functionality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He is probably the most aggressive, I think, during this part of it.
Yeah. So, yeah. I've been missing it from him. I like him getting his hands back into it, as I said before. It's awesome.
I love the shift of seeing that woman, of seeing her flirt with him, and then to go from that to instant fear was she was great. I don't know who she was, but I really liked her small little performance there.
Very good. Very good.
Cool. Oh, we learned this is a fun little Coulson history that he was recruited by S.H.I.E.L.D. because he was studying history, and in studying history, he was uncovering things about S.H.I.E.L.D. and how it connects to history. And I think that's a really neat little bit of backstory.
Yeah. It's small compared to the history we got for Hydra. I'll say that.
That's true. We'll get to that there. RJ, do you feel like with your part of the job, I'd imagine you don't really have to totally be up on all the lore, but were you often keeping up with all that kind of stuff?
What do you mean?
Well, we had David Solomon on last week, and he'd only directed 2 episodes, so he jumps in and doesn't know anything, and he doesn't really have to. Were you were you filled in on the story?
Yes and no. There was things that were told to me or to my department head / me that they're like, this is coming up, so we're gonna be aiming toward this. So keep your thought, because we had a zone of beauty area. Don't try not to abuse this area too much. Don't let them punch them here. You'll notice you almost never see black eyes or busted noses. You see a little bit of blood from the nose. You see cuts around here, but you definitely didn't want to mess with this. So we tried to stay out of that as much as possible. But there was several things that were dropped on us that I was like, oh, you okay? Sure. And I'm not allowed to tell anybody.
Ooh, tough.
I had a question for you, RJ, regarding blood and stuff, which is because I feel like for network television, there's sort of an understood acceptable amount of blood, and so it's kind of within a PG-13. And have you ever been told to pull it back?
Yes.
Yeah, it's something I think about a lot. Yeah,
we cannot show things actually. We can show a pen. We can generally show a pen going out of a hand. Eat. Very rarely will they ever let you show it actually piercing and going through.
Okay,
cool. Interesting.
You may see a blood explosion from something, somebody shot or whatever, but things like that. In the past, it was we had a very specific shade of red that we had to use. That's no longer. We try to make it as real as possible. I hate blood drips. I love blood smears. because I'm sorry, if you're getting shot, pretty good chance you're touching it. If you're getting cut, you're touching it. It's going to smear. I hate seeing singular lines. That's my thing. Generally, you can definitely tell my makeup versus other people's makeups on shows because I'm very big into as natural, as sweaty, as funky as possible.
Cool, man. Love that.
So, but yeah, the old rule of oh, it's got to be blood has to be dark. It can't be too bright. Is long since been pushed out of the way. But it's, which is kind of nice because I remember in the early years when I was working, it was like, oh no, everything's got to be dark. Everything's, almost black to sometimes. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
But on Criminal Minds, they let us kind of go at it, and as long as it was reasonable, like they did until much later in the season. There's a certain episode, and I know you've seen it, where it's just all over walls and everything. And because that it was kind of deserved for that, but it was ridiculous. It was slasher level. And on the show, basically, we kept it at a minimal amount, still realistic. There's there's actually coming up toward the end of the season. There's a whole episode where somebody's covered in quite a bit of it, and a big torture scene and stuff. And yeah, it's yeah. So.
Cool.
As long as we kept it reasonable, they were absolutely fine. We didn't have to,
That's a nice question.
Cool.
Tony.
Thanks for
I
the
like
insight.
that one. Yeah. The now for the scene we've all been waiting for, the Fitzsimmons kiss.
We can skip it, right? We're running a little long, I guess.
No, how dare you? My favorite trope ever is like a fight into a kiss. I'm such a sucker for that so much. And all right, so I've got questions for everyone. And first, RJ, are you like a shipper? Are you sitting there like hoping certain characters are gonna get together? Or are you just like, whatever? It's not about romance. It's about the fights.
There were times on the show where I was like, oh, this is gonna be adorable, and we all loved it. Everybody. There were moments in the show where there was such passion just watching. We all read the script. We're sitting there shooting it, and yet we're all sitting going, or there's a couple scenes coming up this season where we were crying on set. We were actually crying because so many people within the show we were family. We were family for 7 years. This show, you're shooting 70 hours a week. You don't have a choice. Very few people. My chair is very squeaky, I'm noticing.
You're not clocking it.
You have good. You have everyday drama going on that people try to leave their stuff at home that's home, but still you end up with everyday drama. So you get close that way. But then you also, as you're talking, when you see things like when they that's coming up too. I can't say that.
Good catch.
Yeah. But yeah, so of course everybody's was Fitzsimmons. Everybody wanted to see that moment. Everybody was waiting for that moment. And so when these moments did happen, it was as big on set while we were shooting it as it was for you guys watching it. Because pretty much everybody there. I was the guy that came to for comic book lore, but this was more than that. This was, the chemistry between those two actors on screen was ridiculous. Like they couldn't have come up with a better casting.
Agreed. I don't think I've ever seen Jamie smile so much. Like that may be the biggest smile I've ever seen.
I think it's just so well earned. We waited a long time for this, and it's such a good scene. So, and Tony, you shouted, "They're smooching!" So I know you liked it.
Yeah. Honestly, if I'm being totally honest, I thought the timing of it was a little awkward. Not the timing in the season, the timing in the scene. I would have, but like overall, I was so grateful for it. I felt it. I felt the love, and it's nice to hear. Like I was just these past couple of episodes, I've been talking about I didn't use the word cursed, but I talked about how Fitz and Simmons are just on different frequencies and they cannot line up. That's actually a good description,
because they manage, and that's what kill shows is taking and wow, look, you've been waiting, here's the moment, and then after that you're just like, they manage to keep the push and pull of the entire story during the entire show. You're never quite at 100% with them.
Yes. So, and because you want it, and they want it, and they go back and forth on being sincere about what they want, and having more pressing things, and not letting themselves have what they want. Like, and so it's all really, really clicking with them now. I did not ship these two, RJ, for a very long time, but I guess, late last season. I mean, I said, what did I say in the first few episodes?
Season 1, you found them to be brother and sisterly. Was your exact...
which definitely I can see that.
Yeah, but I don't know, when did I say I was on board with it, Jamie? I guess it was like middle of last season sometime, where I was like, yeah, these two, I'm feeling it now. I don't remember exactly when.
Am I back?
Yeah, you back.
Yes.
Great. Can't believe it took 40 minutes for me to cut out. We're doing great, actually. The Roz and Coulson scene, I love all this. I love the spy stuff. I love when it comes out that she doesn't really know she's been working with Hydra.
Yeah, that's cool. I was like, that's what I was counting on, and I got Coulson smarter than always smarter than anyone's given him credit for. Not necessarily. He's always exactly as smart as you want him to be. That's the better way to put it. And she is not as duplicitous as we thought she was, and that is refreshing.
We get a good fight here. We get your boy. He has telekinesis.
He's moving. He's shooting guns.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool.
What do you, RJ? Do you get to watch that stuff? Have you, like, when it's being filmed? Have you, like, where it's just I'm sure it looks so silly when there's nothing happening. Have you gotten to witness that stuff?
Oh God, yes. No, we're there for every moment. And watching, sometimes they come in, they'll put like an item there on a stick. Sometimes they'll be like, well, you got to focus about here. You're just like, wait, what? And I'm watching it, and I'm watching these actors act with literally nothing in the air, or against a green ball, or against a little, shiny ball, or whatever, Mark throws out there, to make them go nuts trying to focus on. It was actually brilliant most of the time, seeing them act against either, like in this case, there was nothing there. They didn't have little floating guns in the air on strings or whatever. It was, we're putting in digital guns. Cool. Yeah. Again, I cannot praise Mark any greater, because he literally had a budget this big and he pulled off Avengers level stuff.
Yeah. We've been singing Mark Kolpak's praises for a long time, and then we finally got him on like two episodes ago.
Last episode.
And just finally got to tell him to his face what a good job he did.
Yeah, because I worked with Mark on the first season of Heroes.
Oh yeah.
So cool. You were on Heroes as well.
That was a long time before. Yes. Yeah. So it was our same makeup crew. We went from there to there. That's how we knew Jeff. So yeah.
Right. That first season of Heroes, what a season of television. So good. Then this, as Tony mentioned, we get this insane Hydra backstory. Like we learn.
Whoa, dude. Oh, hold on. Roll it back a little bit, Jamie, because you went. Sorry, folks. We usually don't have this much delay in our video audio feed. Dope Hydra business. There you are. These guys. The fact that I never would have expected this show to go so deep on lore that is, MCU Hydra lore. Yeah, I didn't know it would get be able to kind of have that much possession of the backstory of this organization. And what's going on with the, centuries old science fiction fantasy Hydra, this alien planet, this consuming entity, this is the most interesting shit that's popping off in this season for me right now in a big way. I can't wait to just keep unraveling this. I'm having a blast with it.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah.
Me too. Oh, me too. It's so fun for me. And then finally, post-credit scene is Andrew and Ward. We want to bring the monster back, and then he throws sleeping with May in his face, which is bold. And that's the episode. Before we kick Tony out, I just want to know, RJ, is there anything specific from this episode that you wanted to bring up or talk about or mention?
I hate to be blind about this, but no, this episode, there's so much coming up ahead that I'm like,
I know we should kick Tony out to
okay, actually, no, hold on. So,
okay.
little odd side fact. Me being a makeup artist, so Coulson's interest right now, right? What's her character name?
Roz.
Her ex-husband in real life is one of the biggest makeup artists that contributed to early 80s and 90s makeup for movies and stuff. Steve, what's Steve's last name? I got Steve's last name, but yeah, all the way to the point of creating like the original Venom looks for Spider-Man 3, and like he's what is Steve's last name? No, I can't think of his name. ADHD.
We'll have chat will Google it. Let me tell you, say you will about Spider-Man 3, the Venom look in that movie is awesome. That's like the best thing in that movie. So that's pretty dope. That is a fun fact. RJ, we do a thing where we pick an MVP of the episode. It can be anything from an actor to a character to a potted plant. There's no serious way to take it. I will go first and tell you I've never done this before, and I don't know that I'll ever do it again. But my MVP is Ward. Ward is awesome in this episode. He does a lot of cool stuff. He's a good villain in this episode. He's scary in this episode. And what can I say? It's his episode to me. Tony?
Well, and as you know, for this, it's this is the beginning of what's coming. Oh. Like, yeah.
Well, yeah, she would know.
Keep going. Yeah. I can hear you. Thankfully, when I cut out, I can still hear you.
Yeah. I gotta say Ward too, and I feel like a dirtbag about it because all I've done on this show is talk about how much I hate Ward, what a bastard he is, and now I'm getting fulfilled. He's just really doing bastardly deeds and not just exuding it. So it's Ward for me as well.
You know what? I'm just gonna agree with you on this because and knowing the future on this, but also knowing where he came from, this as you were saying, Tony, this is the better Ward for what we've seen in quite a long time.
Yeah.
I love that. 3 for 3 Ward. That has never happened. Pretty incredible. And the chat, thank you. Steve Johnson is who you were.
There you go.
Talking
Thank
about.
you.
Yep.
Thank
you guys.
Yeah.
All right, Tony. I'm gonna tell you to get the fuck out of here. Leave.
Great.
Wow.
Before I do that, I'll just say thank you to Stephanie at Eclectic Muses on socials for doing our artwork. Thank you to Ryan Miera of Yellow Pills at Yellow Pills Music on Instagram, and thank you to our producer Maria. Thank you, producer Maria.
You're welcome.
And thanks, RJ. It was nice meeting you. We hope to have you back.
Bye, Tony. Get the fuck
out of here. Get out of here. Leave the room.
Let's hope that in this last 12 minutes, my internet doesn't cut out. I'm so sorry. This never happens. But that's life for you. Okay, he's gone. We can breathe. We can talk. Okay, RJ, there were certain things you're holding back specifically, I think, about season 3. Let it out. Let the words flow.
Okay, yeah, you're talking to an ADHD guy. I've long forgotten those. I hope you took notes. Well, like I said, so we'll start with Mark. Mark, he was originally brought in just to do 2 episodes. I think it was just 2 episodes and be done. He was just gonna be a little henchman in the background. And they loved him so much that they're like, we're gonna make you run through the rest of it. Are you busy? Mark comes in and goes, guess where I'm gonna be for the next 6 months? I'm like, oh, awesome. Love that. So
amazing. For the chat, if you have any questions for RJ, now's the time. Lay them out. Sorry, continue.
Oh no, it's fine. What was hard was trying to remember where it's okay, we've been to the planet, we're off planet, and now we know that he is different for a reason. And I kept trying to not. I'm like, why, Brett? Okay, where are we with Brett?
Yeah, what did you do for Hive stuff? What was that?
I had to do it was hard. I had to replicate one of his looks. So when he had that goggle eyes, I basically called the zombie look. It was a under eye piece that sat here and it kind of ridged out this little bit and then this, and it pushed these out a bit. And I had to do one for a photo shoot for him because they realized they had no looks for him for all their upcoming, PR stuff. And so I had to redo that look using a piece that I had made for Buffy the Vampire Slayer years before. And, which I saw somebody say something about Slayer Fest on this. I'm like, is that a Buffy thing? Anyway,
that is our friend of a show podcast, Slayer Fest 98. Great podcast. Check them out.
I was like, what was that? Okay. You guys still have the Buffy's Mr. Pointy sitting around the house somewhere. Yeah, I just completely went off track. Oh, generally we kept him clean and we made sure his skin was perfect and everything as this character, because once he got rebirthed, it's like we wanted to keep him looking like that unless he needed, but so we had the little goggle piece on him for a little bit that kind of, gave him a little bit of that sunken eye feel. Pardon me. There was we would bring in other effects artists because a lot of times the show was just like Heroes. It was so heavy with cast that the four of us that were normally there, like, we would get overwhelmed very quickly when we had some of these larger days. So a lot of times we'd have other makeup artists coming in to give us a hand. Sometimes just with background, sometimes with effects that was done out of house. So like his was originally done by what was it called? I can't think of it right now. Anyway, was an out of house company that came in and did little goggles. And the more production learned that I could do, the more they went, take away from them, let RJ do it, which then would extend my nights at home where I would just make stuff and bring it in the next day. But yeah, and that goggle piece was one of them. But yeah, as for Brett, I mean, there was a lot of blood and stuff on the show, but Brett was always generally kept really tight and really clean.
Mm-hmm.
So
he does have that look. Fun. I'm very interested for Tony to get to Hive. I can't wait to see what he thinks about it. We have a lot of people in the chat, specifically asking about Kree makeup. Alice wants to know like what it was kind of like, and she brought up, the Kasai's death, and then and specifically the Kree in Shield versus Captain Marvel, which you did talk about, but like you were kind of dancing around it a little bit, I think, for Tony.
Yeah, I was trying to. So okay. When we get to that, I will definitely come back on that episode. Hopefully I won't be working too much or whatever, because when we come back with the Kree, number one, the first episode, the first two Krees you meet have both played Jason from Friday the 13th.
Ooh. It's
a buddy of mine, Doug Tate, and who's the other guy? But it's funny. So they're both in the same scene together, and it's the first time you see Krees on the show. And it was weird because this is when I ran into this makeup problem. The product that they used on Guardians of the Galaxy, that another buddy of mine said, this is what we use. I go, great. I got the color. I got everything. Got a large amount of it. Went to use it. Did the test makeups, and it literally was crumbling off the face. And I'm like, what is going on? And it wasn't even like all day wear. It was like an hour in. And we don't, on the schedule we had on the show, we don't have time for me to take them away for an hour, fix them, bring them back. It was touch them up at the time, or we're not using them. So I ended up using, it was a Wolf Brothers water-based makeup, and I was like literally sponging it on because the stuff was falling off. It was so awful. But the Krees were fun because, so once I figured out how to fix that, then a buddy of mine that, Brian, who was on the show with me, we had a whole separate trailer just for doing the Krees, because there was blue paint everywhere. It looked like a Smurf exploded. But it was me, Brian, and Robert, and then another buddy of mine, Douglas Noe, would come in sometimes, and we had a couple others. But so Brian was, when we got done with us, which I think the last time we saw a Kree was like we shot him like in December. So like January, February, buddy of mine, Brian, calls, says, hey, I'm working on Captain Marvel. We're doing the test makeups, using that same stuff that Brian Sipe was using over on, see, I knew I'd come up with the name sooner or later, over on Guardians of the Galaxy for Yondu and a couple of the others, and it's falling off. I'm like, so it's still the same crap. He's like, yeah. He goes, what did you make that we used? I go, well, I used this, this, and this. And he goes, here, hand it over to Greg Funk. Greg talked to me. He goes, blah, blah, blah. And I'm all, where are you guys? Sony, great. I grabbed a gallon of it. I brought it down to them. I'm all, we're not using it anymore right now anyway. I don't think they're coming back. So try this, see if it works, right? Sure enough, worked. And that's when he gave me a call and said, hey, we need you over here anyway. You got plenty of experience. You got plenty of people vouching for you. So get your butt over here. I'm like, awesome. But yeah, so then I ended up over there and I ended up doing crease and scrolls and beauty makeup and kind of the works on the show. And it was supposed to be like a 2-week job. It ended up being like 4 months. And then we did pickups for like another 3 weeks in December. So yeah.
Cool. That's
Of stuff that never got seen or used.
Of course.
Oh,
Somebody,
that
Kevin
show.
in the Kevin in the chat wanted to know the most difficult makeup assignment you had in the show. Was it the Kree, or was there something that was even harder for you?
There was several things that made it more difficult. Like there was a torture scene with Nick Blood.
Oh,
and he had lots of cuts on him and stuff. And so there was and to keep continuity on little things like that is like Criminal Minds. It's like I have to map it, I have to kind of and make sure, and this goes here and here and here. That just came to mind. Oh god, what's her name? She was an Inhuman. Sonic the Hedgehog. Whoa.
Oh, Raina.
Yeah, we called her Sonic. So on a side note, we'll talk about her after, but because this is one of those that I can tell you, but we're not going public on this one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so her makeup was originally designed something completely different, and then Marvel TV, Marvel Television butted heads a lot. There was people on Marvel TV, Marvel Film butted heads a lot. Because we were Marvel, but people on the other side would say, you can't use that because we're going to. You can't use that because we don't like you. We don't use that because we're going to tell you some other reason. We had lots of problems during the show. But there was some inner working problems that I don't care about because it wasn't my problem, but it became my problem when it was, so, this character we're going to use, can you redesign something else? Which when you saw them in on the asteroid, floating around in space, you saw all those little random aliens and stuff. A lot of those were last minute. Like, RJ, what do you got? What can you airbrush up? What kind of prosthetics do we have sitting there and we can glue onto somebody? And it was like I used a lot of Buffy foreheads that I had sitting around just to make people look cranky, just to give them a different look. And then I'd paint them up blue or green or whatever. I custom made some stuff. One of my favorite ones was this. It was one of the people that were on the outer space committee, and he had like these metal pieces that were around his face, and those were actually Brian. We were coming, they didn't know what they wanted. They're like something metal, something kind of cyborg looking. They didn't know what they wanted, and Brian goes, "Give me that coat hanger." And it was a coat hanger, it was kind of framed, so it had hollows and stuff. And he poured some goo in it, and he peeled it out, painted it silver, and we glued them to him. We're like, there you go. So we there was a lot of things that we did on the fly in that show because of last minute changes, because of last minute notifications that we couldn't. And there was the Krees were originally supposed to go further into the season, but we got the notification that Captain Marvel was using them. We could no longer have them, which is why suddenly that changed to people with little black designs on their face, because that was a last minute change.
Interesting. Wow, that's crazy.
There was a lot of dynamics that were just
You guys really were the last. Like you had it the hardest, because now Marvel TV is just Disney Plus stuff. Like it's all together. But I was gonna say, but it's still the best. It's still my favorite thing in the MCU. So, what were you gonna say?
I've been rewatching it lately because of this coming up, and I was like, wow, I'd forgotten how much amazing things we pulled off, how many good things we pulled off, and how many storylines got changed at the last minute because of these between the two universes. And it was almost always it drove me nuts because it was always written off. Well, because we may change when the movie's going to come out, so they're not going to line up. So no, it just somebody over there said no, so therefore we had to deal with it. On the other hand, we had I believe it was the president of ABC going, yeah, no, I love the show. My family loves the show, and we're backing them up. We're going to do 100% of whatever we need to do to keep the show going. So it was a good show for besides and on top of it, our fan base. Oh my God, our fan base. Colson Lives just kept going and brought our show about because of it. But it wasn't just that. Then they followed even through what I consider some of the darker times, the early bits of season 1. But even like I watch now and I go, there was some good times, but for me, there's also some just really slow times that were just like a lot of gunfire, and I'm like, it was okay. It was fun. It wasn't necessarily MCU. It was just kind of, a bunch of guys running out with guns. But then you throw something else in there. I'm like, oh yeah, there we are. Now we're back again. It was really good. There's of course Raw's coming up where I'm like, we're getting ready for already. Okay. That was kind of a last minute thing. And, so I think the day before I whipped out the thing for her neck. And it was.
Tony's going to be so sad. He's going to be pissed when she dies. I love hearing all that. We're already an hour and I don't want to keep you over, but real quick, I know that people wanted to see some of your stuff. Could you give us a little tour of some of your business you got back there?
That's my Captain. Well, you can't say it. That's my Captain Marvel hat.
Cool.
It's actually got one of my biggest views on TikTok when I was first doing it because I was like, look what I just got. Now I can say what I'm working on. Same thing as what season is this? Season 3.
Perfect.
Shield. Every season I would the guys would give me patches from wardrobe generally. So I had patches from each season. Some were patches that were seen, some of them weren't seen. So this was actually, I guess, would have been season 1.3, 1.7, I guess, when it broke in half. So, of course, we got that one. And these are all patches that were used on a lot of the suits and stuff. That's the actual Hydra patch. Wendy, who is our key makeup, took this one and put it on the side. She bought a custom set of green Converse and put this on the side of her Converse. So they were really cool. She had cool custom Converse. This is for the show that didn't happen. We were literally 2 days from shooting and it got canceled.
Oh.
So yeah. This the icon from that, and then our shield thing, and then that was just a normal thing. On the front is the Canelo's auto body from Robbie Ray's shop. So Canelo's, right? Canelo's auto body. So those were all fun. One season we got, I don't remember if it was from wardrobe or whatever, but we got this giant patch and nobody knew what to do with it. So I stuck it on the back of my Captain Marvel jacket.
Cool.
So, which I have my Captain Marvel ones, and then I have my custom Captain Marvel one here because that was their unit that okay, here's a little side fact about the show. Our off-world planet is the same exact location was the main planet in Captain Marvel. We both shot in this stone quarry in Simi Valley. Lots of long late night awfulness.
We had Craig and Titley and Elizabeth on for that episode, and they talked about how grueling it was to film in Simi Valley. Oh, there's Colton.
Yes,
I'm like looking up like this close to try.
That's okay. Yeah, signed it to me. He's nice about that.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's a little action figure. I have way too many of these. Actually, I'm selling a whole bunch right now.
Oh.
Not of that specific figure. This is in case anybody wondered what a generic prosthetic looks like. So this is from a different show. This is from Criminal Minds. But this is so if I wanted to wound somebody's cheek, this is a silicone prosthetic. I try to pre-paint them if I can. It is upside down. This would be a cheekbone. So we'd actually then glue it on and then match it to skin tone and bloody it up. But I had some of those. I had tons of stuff. Here's a little Chloe bobble.
Oh yeah, the chat noticed that one. They were calling that one out.
I tried to throw some stuff in the background because I'm like I said, this room's a disaster right now.
Yeah, one of these days I won't be sitting on the floor of my bedroom, and I'll have a good background like Tony does.
So my moment, and I was talking about this earlier. The moment that every cast and crew member were bawling during was this moment during the show.
Oh,
So this was when we lost Adrian and Nick. And we
Party
lost them
shot.
because they went off to do another show. It was a spinoff.
Marvel's
I've
Most
seen
Wanted.
this.
You've seen it? Oh,
I saw this. Billy let me watch it on his computer, and I've seen probably 70+% of it, and it was a lot of fun, but I think it was just too cop spy, not Marvel-y enough for Marvel to grab onto. Our show sometimes was hanging by a thread as it was. I think they just didn't want, this is just my personal opinion, I think they just didn't want to do that again. Have another show that was like, but I thought it was great. But because of that, until later on, we basically lose them in the show because, spies, blah, blah, blah. But because of that, I made this challenge coin for our very last episode for the spies goodbye. But during that, oh my God. So we were shooting at a little bar just in Culver City, just behind the studio. And that bar's been there forever. And I mean, people go there every day. It wasn't a set, it was an actual working bar. And it's very dark in there. Speaking of dark, very dark in there. They love their dark. But the first glass that gets, they're like, oh, what is this? Who sent this over? And they're looking around and we're bawling. Everybody's bawling on set. We're just like, oh my God. Like, we all felt like we were losing somebody, but also the scene everybody could feel it. And there was several scenes like that. But yeah, earlier when you'd mentioned something like, one of my favorite shipping and favorite moments would be that moment there. And it killed every one of us. We're like, oh.
I've seen that episode 10 times, and every time it makes me cry. They really hit the emotional punch. And there's the added sadness of knowing the show didn't happen. I would kill to watch that pilot.
Right?
What a bummer. I would have
I
loved
want
to
Billy
see
to
them.
leak it out there one day. Just
Leak
to put it out
it! Yeah,
right?
Text him. Tell him to leak it.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments, and I'm assuming I'll be back talking more about this stuff, and I'll come up with other things if you guys want me or whatever. I know I get chatty, my brain goes in 30 different directions at once.
It's a podcast. We need you to be chatty. That's please.
It's but the show itself is just, it was the two shows that defined my makeup world were Heroes and this. And both shows were huge shows with big casts, and like Heroes, we shot 2 units at the same time constantly with their full cast. Normally they do a little spin-off, little side when we're going to shoot some pickup shot stuff or stunts or whatever. No. Same thing with this one. We would sometimes split off and we're shooting on one stage here, and it's all footage that is not secondary footage. It's all main footage. And that's a lot of times when Gary would come in. Gary would come in because everybody knew him, everybody trusted him, and he knew the styles of the different directors that we had, so he could kind of mimic while still giving it his own flavor. So yeah, Gary was friggin' fantastic with that. Every time he'd walk in, say, "Oh, RJ's here. What am I gonna have to wait for?" He'd give me crap. It was in complete love, and he knew that I would get the stuff out as quick as possible. But a lot of times, like earlier in this season, when Elizabeth gets her leg sliced open and she has to stitch it up, it's always, RJ, you got like a minute and a half. I'm gonna need more than that. I know, but I'm gonna tell you this. And it was, what are we gonna see? The question is, because they could never tell me what we were gonna see ahead of time. Because the director didn't necessarily know the angles they were gonna shoot at or whatever, but they give me the overall. So then the great thing is, if we're in the middle of it, I'm like, okay, I know we're seeing from here. If we shoot it from here, we're gonna see problem. We're gonna have problems. Can we get the camera over to here instead? Yeah, not a problem. Great. I can cut the time in half. I will move that camera, if I can speed things up. So like her whip stitching that, or later on Chloe's back. She's stitching up Chloe's back. Same kind of thing. It was, RJ, get this on as quick as possible. We don't have any time. Of course we don't. We never have time. And since I've learned, because of this, I've made myself learn techniques that are faster to get things applied
He's, for our audio listeners, he's going to look for some more cool stuff, I think.
Yeah, I'm grabbing a. So instead of that piece that I just showed you that you glue on and you blend in and stuff, I now make pieces that are in mold, and an in mold piece goes on. Well, when it sticks, it goes on. That also, I'm kind of glad it sticks because this is not aired yet for Criminal Minds. You go like that, you peel it off. It's basically, I just spatter some color on at that point. Oh, here we go. Sorry. You go like that, you stick it on. It's in mold. My mold is very flexible, so I can get around just about any surface. And then it would peel off. Like I said, this is coming up, but so it peels out, kind of like that. Stuck on the skin, and as you can tell, it's kind of skinish colored anyway. So I just add some little red, little blue, and I'm making sure I distort it on purpose because it's part of a upcoming episode of Criminal Minds. It forced me to come up with better and creative and quicker ways to apply things because the industry's gotten more and more. Can we get this done quicker? They no longer give us the 2 hours to do a simple thing or a thing that would make it look better. So yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Well, if we have any Criminal Minds fans that listen to our podcast, go watch the show. Look for RJ's work. RJ, do you have any other things that people can go find you at? Where can they follow you? Where can they see your work?
Since COVID coming back, since coming back from COVID, I did Daisy Jones and the Six for Amazon, which is all 70s stuff, rock band, loosely based on what was that based on? I forget right now. With Riley Keough, which is Elvis's granddaughter. And Sam, and it was great. We had such a blast on that. We actually ended up in Greece. I didn't know I was going there, but I ended up in a little island, Hydra Island in Greece. I'm like, why is this coming back to haunt me? Right? And then I did Criminal Minds. I did three seasons of Criminal Minds. And I did there's a show coming out called Aces, or no, it's called Lucky. Our working title was Aces on Apple Plus, coming out early this season. It is a Reese Witherspoon project. She's not in it. It's Anya Taylor-Joy's in it with a buddy of mine, Timothy Oliphant. They play daughter father in a kind of a heist kind of movie. It was a lot of fun to work on. Cool. But that one ran over into my Criminal Minds season this year, and then I had some knee surgery and all this fun stuff. But yeah, and then coming up, I don't know what's coming up into the new year. So
hopefully coming up, RJ back on Loving the Time of Hydra, because this was so much fun. Thank you. You gave us a lot of cool insights that we have not heard before, so that was awesome.
Thank you. So I was reading somebody said something about Criminal Minds and Daisy Jones. Well, somebody said Criminal Minds and Agents of Shield mixed together, and I don't know where it went, but yeah,
lot of crossover fans. I love Heroes too, so I'm like, I feel like you, Adrian Pasdar, with between Heroes and Shield.
Adrian's a good friend of mine. I love Adrian. He is a wonderful man. Him and his damn mustache. Which I'll talk about coming up and stuff too, but that mustache was the bane of my existence because he was on a different show and he couldn't grow his mustache in. Therefore, we had to make him mustaches, and keeping that perfect little triangle in the right place. And he's quite expressive at times with his mouth, so it pops and it moves, and it's like, and it wasn't his fault. It was just, it was the nature of our business. He was working elsewhere. He was not on our show full time. So yeah.
And you guys can't have CGI mustaches like DC.
Please don't. That was
It was awful. That was nothing worse than that CGI.
But we've had those moments in the show where people have cut their hair off and they've had to quickly whip up a wig in 24 hours that don't know. And then Mark had to go in and make it look less like a wig. We've definitely that show, I think, tested every one of our boundaries on what we could do, what we could figure out how to do. And there was even times where we would have to figure out stuff based on what was sitting at craft service at the time. So how do we make some brain matter? We got some egg and some banana over there. Great.
What a fun job. It's I know it's hard and you worked crazy hours, but at the end of the day, it's so cool. It's such a cool thing to get to do. And you're so good at it. It's truly that's why I love this show.
What I do. I'm
and
lucky. I love what I do, and it's
and so do we. We love the show. Thank you again so much. This was so fun. Thanks for staying a little late. If you are watching live and think, I would love to keep listening to Jamie talk, in 15 minutes, hop on over to Agents of Fandom on YouTube. We're going to be talking about Wicked, which is a thing that I love. So go listen to that.
Me and my son are gonna go see that later.
Yeah. I hope you like it. We'll be back Sunday, November 30th, potentially at a special time. I might be in San Diego. I don't know. That's why you have to follow us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky to keep up with all of our business. It's at LitoPod, and next week we're going to be announcing a really cool guest. So thank you everyone who watched live. We'll see you next week. Thank you, RJ. Goodbye.
Guess.